Hey, I'm Aaron Lopresti here at San Diego Comic-Con in 2024, and I just want to let you guys all know that Fantastic Comics is the best comic shop in the world.
By gum, Captain! All the latest home videos in beta and VHS!
Aye, some so current, they're still in theatrical release.
Help yourself, mates. A chest full of video discs.
No!
What good are they? Can't record on them!
They're not compatible with my system.
Captain! This was locked!
Stand back.
Open that up!
Gather around, me buckos, and feast your eyes on this. Make all the illegal copies you want. Put it on.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Oh, I'm so scared.
What's your prediction for the fight, then?
Prediction?
Yes, prediction.
Pain.
Ride the world's most terrifying roller coaster. The Devastator. The Devastator. A heart-stopping 200-mile-per-hour, 15-story drop, spine-cracking 90-degree turn, and the final plunge. 2 whole minutes underwater. The Devastator. The Devastator. It's soul-shattering. Devastator! Devastator! Only at Thrill World.
J.C. stops when her high heel gets caught in the grating of a sewer. Suddenly, a man steps in the frame and points a gun at her. This is not her day. Fade to black. Title: 3 weeks earlier.
Eat!
I really identified with the girls in Ghost World. They made me feel like I wasn't so alone.
Yeah, whatever. Do you know anyone who works at Batman? 'Cause I really want to draw Batman. I'm awesome at utility belts. Check these out. This is where the Batman keeps his money, in case he has to take the bus.
Remember the first time I saw your bike? You were riding past my house and I came running out to tell you how much I liked it even way back then?
I love that story.
I think it's getting warmer in here.
I didn't notice anything.
Battalion 5, raise your hands. You will be the all-important first attack wave, which we will call Operation Human Shield. Hey, wait a minute! Now keep in mind, Operation Human Shield will suffer heavy losses. Battalion 14... Right, you are Operation Get Behind the Darkies. You will follow Battalion 5 here, and try not to get killed, for God's sake. Are there any questions, men? Yes, soldier.
Have you ever heard of the Emancipation Proclamation?
I don't listen to hip-hop.
It's a pleasure working with you.
Well, you dirt-eating piece of slime, you scum-sucking pig, you son of a motherless goat.
Who are you?
Wherever there is injustice, you will find us. Wherever there is suffering, we'll be there. Tell us we will die like dogs.
What?
Tell us we will die like dogs.
You will die like dogs.
No, we will not die like dogs. We will fight like lions, because we are the Three Amigos!
I don't know if you ever heard of me before, but I used to be called the Waco Kid.
The Waco Kid. He had the fastest hands in the West.
In the world.
Well, if you're the kid, then show me something.
Oh, well, maybe a couple of years ago I could have shown you something, but today, look at that.
Steady as a rock.
Yeah, but I shoot with this hand.
This guy's been stoned since the 3rd grade.
Yes?
Yeah, I'm registered in this class.
What class?
This is U.S. history. See the globe right there.
Really?
Hey, may I come in?
Oh, please. I get so lonely when I hear that 3rd attendance bell ring and all my kids are not here.
Sorry I'm late. It's just like this new schedule's totally confusing. Yeah, I know that, dude.
Mr. Spicoli.
That's the name they gave me. Hey, you're ripping my car.
Yeah.
Hey, bud, what's your problem?
No problem at all. I think you know where the front office is.
You dick!
I like cream pies as much as the next guy. Oh, don't say it out loud. Oh, okay. Let me make a cream pie for you, okay? Then you can try it. See what you think. I do not want to taste your cream pie. They taste great. I can guarantee it. You've tasted yours? Of course I have. Haven't you? No. I've tasted mine. I didn't like it. I've tasted mine, yeah. I liked mine.
I'm married to a woman.
These are all my regulars. You strike me as a angry top. I'm clean, but you do have to glove up unless you're down for some frottage.
Frottage?
It's French for rubbing our dicks together.
The question on everyone's lips is why? How could this be happening? Recent victims include local favorites, the Hutchinson brothers.
My brother is dead. He broke his neck and then he drowned. Why? I mean, 1 minute we're laughing, the next minute he's dead. Why would God let this happen?
Coca leaves? Uh-huh. You mean the stuff that they make cocaine out of?
Yeah. Yeah, from South America. Peru, I believe.
All right, come out or I'll blast you out.
For shame, Doc. Hunting rabbits with an elephant gun.
Elephant gun?
That's right, Doc. So why don't you go shoot yourself an elephant? You do, and I'll give you such a pinch!
We're going to start our volleys. We hope you like the show. For everything is ready. We're raring to go. We'll give you all the latest songs and dances full of pep. We're gonna start with high chops. Just watch this chorus
Originally settled as Ocean View during the 1850s, the city's population boomed
with displaced.
But in my own way, I am king. Hail to the king, baby.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fantastic Comics Presents. I'm your host. And who is that, you ask? Do I even have it anymore? Oh, yeah, I do. It's right here.
My name is
Yule Carter, comic book retailer in Berkeley, California.
That's right. Berkeley, California is where our store is. We're open Wednesday through Sunday, 12 to 5 p.m. What is this? This is a show about a guy that owns a comic book store and likes comic books, if you can believe it. And we talk about things comic book related here on this show. Sometimes I have a guest, not today. And we also talk about things that we talk about in the store. So if something is exciting, maybe outside the world of comics, maybe that will be something we have a little bit of a conversation about. But today, we're going to talk about the New York City Comic Convention that happened last week. There was a lot of announcements. There were a lot of pre-convention announcements that were being leaked. But we're just going to deal mostly with the mainstream right now, and any other fallout. Maybe we can, there's still news happening even now. So they wait till after the convention to then go and make some announcements. And just today, there was a few of them. So Ignatowski, Christopher Lloyd, it's his birthday today. And I said, I got to definitely get video claimed for Christopher Lloyd today. So I made sure to put that taxi in. So yay. What are your favorite roles that he's played? I mean, he's been all over the place, right? I love him in Roger Rabbit. A lot of fans of Doc Brown, is it? In Back to the Future. Back to the Future. But Ignatowski on Taxi. Whew, that's good cutting my teeth. He's also in, what is it? The One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. A lot of memorable roles that he's involved in. Also, Dan DeVito in Cuckoo's Nest also. So I wanted to get that one. He played a Klingon in a Star Trek movie that wasn't that good. Let me know in comments, chats, comments, all of the above. So yeah, we're going to talk about DC. We're going to talk about Marvel. There's a little video. Actually, while we're talking right now, I should probably try and bring that up so we don't have to worry about it later. It's going to be about Spider-Man. Did you hear that at the convention, there was a Spider-Man panel, and people were, I guess, talking hella shit to the editor, and just fan reaction to this story, not this storyline of Spider-Man, but this run of Spider-Man, the one that Zeb Wells took over. They got a brand new #1. They polished it up. They got new artists on it and everything. Made sure everybody was, really awesome. And then they had this story with this character that nobody cares about. Oh, so sad. So sad. And And I feel like there's been a lot of really good stories in that Spider-Man run, but the things that aren't good are indefensible. Like, good art. It was very good art. But if you're doing that, you might as well just give the artist, some pages to put down, and I don't need to read anything really. Pay them for it. Yeah, so let's get to our first segment. This is really going to be a short one, unlike normal. Here we go. That's right. We talk wrestling this week. When you come into the store, if you're interested, I have the AEW one shot. I think it's a freebie, and DC's putting it out. It has Steve Orlando doing the writing, and it's basically all the backups that you may have got in your, if you get DC Comics, you'll have seen the backups. And there was like a Will Ospreay one, a Tony Storm one, and come into the store, and I guess with purchase, or at least a good conversation about wrestling, you can come in and get the AEW book lit. It's like a little thin comic book that collects all those stories. Yeah, AEW. Is there anything I can think of? I guess Jon Moxley is doing this kind of white supremacist character, and he just beat the hell and killed Bryan Danielson. He even got like Danielson's buddy to put a bag over his head and everything. We talked about this one before. So they're just kind of replaying that gimmick and really kicking Bryan Danielson to the curb because, he's old and decrepit and not as old as me, and not maybe worse off than me physically, but feel bad for him. Yeah, so Moxley is champ again, which, like, if you look back at who was the champ before, it was Swerve Strickland. And there have been a lot of people that have been making, like, comments about AEW being like all elite whitey. It's not that there aren't characters that are of color, women also, and of color. And all sorts of things they got going on, different thoughts and processes and whatnot. But when you get to the championship level, with very few exceptions, there haven't been strong non-white champions. Having said that, I feel like anytime someone becomes a champion, they're pretty freaking weak in that company. So if you get upset about it, you might look at it that way. Continuing the racism and wrestling conversation, I saw a friend of mine say, that's what I get for watching WWE. The first episode I watch again, and then I can only imagine it's because Jey Uso lost to Braun Breaker in a very good match that you can go on YouTube and watch with a banner, not unlike that Wrestling Minute. It's not that one, though. It talks about Peacock and stuff like that. But, yeah, it was a really, really good match. I liked it. And you don't know what the next month is going to be. Is this going to be like a Ricky the Dragon, Ric Flair kind of thing that we're going to look back on later? So, in another month or two, there's going to be an important pay-per-view, or PLE as they call them. And, maybe Jay will get that back. In the very least, they're building a program, and they're maybe not hot potatoing the belt, but we've had a lot of long champions in wrestling, and they actually made mention that 51 days is the length of Braun Breaker's first title run, which is like really short. And then Jey Uso wins it, and a month later he loses it again. So it feels very much like it could go with another title switch. Could be some fun stuff. And of course, that whole Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Raquel Gonzalez, Dirty Dom stuff is still going on. And yeah, that's about it. Anybody else have anything to say about wrestling? Oh man, my shoulder hurts. I don't know what it was. I think I slept on it wrong. It's cooler now in the evening, so I felt like I wanted to wear something warmer. And normally I was looking for my beanie, but I couldn't find it, so I put my typical hat on. But my Dodgers are going to the World Series, and it was quite a thing at the store because I had people coming in going, "Oh, I'm rooting for your team, Yule," or we actually had people that were like, "Yeah, let's see what's going to happen." And I got to admit, I hugged someone this week. I just went up and I was so happy. I just wanted to give a hug. But it wasn't for that game. Well, it was for that game. It was for the clinching game, but it wasn't at the very end of it. Ooh, did your team make it? How'd your team do this year? Do you like baseball? I find that in comic book stores. Excuse me, I'm going to cough. Let me push the button though. I find that in comic stores, you get a wider range of people that come in the store, but one of the types of people that doesn't usually come in the store are sports fans. I feel like in my store, we maybe have more sports fans than ever before, and it's not many. And for some people, it's basketball. For some people, it's hockey. I know it's crazy. For some people, obviously, you got 49er talk and stuff like that. In fact, sports radio up here, it's all about Warriors basketball and 49ers football, and even when the Raiders were up here. And sometimes the baseball gets sprinkled in when things happen with the Giants. They'll announce who won the World Series and how this, but they're not going to really have any baseball conversation until the Giants are important, part of it again. And I feel like so I'm weaving here, everybody. Okay. But it's just like wrestling. There's part of the crowd likes wrestling, but a lot of wrestling fans don't necessarily actually like sports. They can pop or give cheap heat to a villain when they say something bad about the local sports team. Or when Jill and I went and saw Raw, they were trying to put Del Rio over. What was his first name? He's the aristocrat. And he came out in a 49er jersey, and we were out in I think it was San Jose. And it's like, there's a lot of people that just don't really care, and we can really tell when you're pandering to us. This guy ain't gonna get over. Not everybody that reads comics are like necessarily, that's the literature for a lot of people, right? Nothing wrong with it. But, I don't see a lot of sports talk in the comic store. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know. In fact, this is probably a good time for me to say to each and every one of you.
We didn't come to borrow any money. We didn't come to borrow any dough. We didn't come to borrow any trouble. We just dropped in to say hello. Oh, hello to you, Mr. Penny. Please don't think that we are hammy. We just dropped in from Alabama. We just dropped in to say hello.
Oh boy, you said it.
We just dropped in to say hello.
And don't forget it.
We just dropped in to say hello.
And I'm...
Hello.
Hello.
Goodbye.
Hello. I love that one. Obviously, this episode is not going to be monetized, so you know what to do. Let's see. Starting off, we had StreamYard. Why, if you click the link and actually subscribe to StreamYard as a streaming platform, if there's enough people that do it, I'm going to get money, and then some you will too. It's almost like a pyramid scheme, except we're not putting anything. Well, I guess we are actually. I knew that. Illithid lore. DC looks to honestly be making a lot of the right moves recently, while Marvel is still sniffing their own farts. All right, so you think that Marvel, this is before the show started, Marvel thinks that much of their stuff? Yo, DC's done the did, and the diddy done did the done. Fantinuum. Yeah, all of that. If we have a Diddy expert that wants to come on and have a conversation, let me know in the store. Joey Pill in the other room. Hello, Lord Gonzo. Evening, gang. Evening, Lord Gonzo. Wait, let me look at that picture. I wish these could blow up better. Oh well. Anyway, Lane Kramer. Hello. Oh yeah. Hey, what's your predict? That was my. I loved. Like I went and saw Rocky 2, but Rocky 3. You know, it's like 1 for a kid, kind of boring, and 2. At least they start with the fight, but then the whole pregnancy thing, it can be a little bit boring. Great ending. But number 3, you know, we're starting to see the change in the character, and you got the Mr. T bit. I was like, oh man, Mr. T when I was a kid growing up. And then Hulk Hogan, holy shit. He was Thunderlips, and oh my god, that was the great scene. Yeah, fun movie, really good. I'm doing well. I hope everyone's doing well also, Lane. Yeah, holy cow. Another big week. Wait a second, Little Lord. Local Man got canceled? Gone too soon? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it doesn't make an appearance somewhere else. There's a couple other Image comic books that are going on. Michel Fiffe, I should bring it up. He announced that the end of his Copra series is starting up in January. So it'll be 6 more issues. I think it might be published by Image. I'm not sure. He's done a 6-issue arc over there before. But now they do the trade collections, and then he still has been self-publishing after that 6-issue run. Today it's Lagunitas IPA. Petaluma, California. Wow. That was a horrible pour. You can tell. That's not that bad. All right. Now let's see. Mad Respect. Hey, Yule. Catching things live this week. All right. Excellent. Let's see. Damn, what's up with that gnome level beard, Yule? Well, I got to admit, I'm not really a superstitious guy, but there's been this baseball thing going on right now, and it's kind of like, I don't want to do anything different if I don't have to. So you should all be happy. I always take a shower anyway. But I try and lay my socks out before I go in the shower. That's the nut. That I'm not talking anymore about showering. You know, just kind of lay them out already so I don't have to do it, you know. What can I say? So the beard, I've been keeping this, and I got my little nail. And then there's this bracelet that I'm not wearing right now, but I do during the games. So it snapped one day, and they totally lost. And I was like, oh, shit. So I was going to be like, so my customer's name is Joaquin, and his niece, Fantinium knows all about this. His niece wants to buy this turtle. And we're like, well, how much does the turtle cost? Well, it doesn't even matter because she's making money by selling these little bracelets for like $5 each. And I'm like, all right. So I had her make me 2 of them. One was more Spider-Man themed and one was Dodger themed, which is nice because it kind of had the gray like this. But I took a picture with it next to my hat so she knows what Dodger blue really looks like. Nonetheless, I mean, besides that, the thing snapped. And I was like, Joaquin, your fucking niece's her bracelet snapped on me and the damn team lost. I might be asking for my money back, but you know, everything's good. I didn't do that. Jim from Taxi was stolen whole cloth by Richards on Seinfeld. Man, that guy. Lagunitis. Aside from Back to the Future, I knew Christopher Lloyd from an episode of Amazing Stories where he played a headless teacher chasing after delinquent students who put a curse on him. Wow. All right. I didn't see all of those, but that's a good one. Thank you, Fantinuum. Star Trek 3, Search for Spock. Arguably the best odd number movie. Wait a second. Oh, yeah, they like the even number ones. Everybody hates that God one. I'm like, that one's fine. I didn't have a problem with it. These Star Trek Vulcans don't have feelings. The episode was Go to the Head of the Class. Of course it was. I'll always love him as Uncle Fester. Oh, I totally forgot about that role. Well, yeah, I'm not supposed to say them all. Let's see here. I'll always have a soft spot for the Page Master. What's the Page Master? I liked him as Rasputin and Anastasia. Wow. Wait, R.I.P. Cafe de Renee. Jolly's here. Hi, how's it going? I don't know what sounds worse, an AEW comic or being written by Steve Orlando. Steve Orlando's been coming up lately, I'll have you know. We'll be talking about a new comic that he's doing. The art's pretty good, and Jill was like, she said, wow, if Will Ospreay really he looks like a man in this comic book, I think is what she said. Maybe she can correct me if she's listening. I've always wanted to see him in a movie with John Lithgow. They were both crazy professors. What was that? Was he also in a movie with frickin' Michael Keaton, right? The Dream Team, if I'm not mistaken, and he was like a guy that only talked in baseball terminology. And it was kind of one of those movies that butched up Michael Keaton enough to make people buy into him being Batman also. Like, seriously. Can you believe it? When I was like, what was I, 17, 18 at the time? People were worried that Mr. Mom was going to play Batman. Now look what they got. Shelton Benjamin, let's go. The Hurt Syndicate might actually make me like or watch AEW. Okay, very good. Is racism in wrestling called wrestling or racism? Racism, without a doubt. It's racism. I hate, man, maybe racism, xenophobia in wrestling. It's not at all like it used to be just a few years ago, but there is some of that still. And if you get the hostile small crowds, you can really play that stuff up. I mean, it's very embarrassing. I mean, like the thing about wrestling that I like is never the thing I don't like about wrestling. And I don't want to share that stuff with people. And sometimes it can still be good or funny, even in spite of it. But you know, when you had characters that were the villains because they're gay, you know, that just kind of isn't cool. But we've grown since then. Now, hopefully, we can have a villain that is gay in wrestling, and it won't be a thing, you know. But even that is still nuanced, and people have a hard time with it. Oh, That's right. Too bad Samantha Irvin left WWE. She's great. I agree. She's great. She might overdo it just a little bit, but she sounds like a fangirl, and to see her go is sad because, firstly, is she Samantha Irvin or is she another person's name? Because if she's another person's name, Samantha Irvin has a lot of followers. She has like over 1 million, 3 million. It's million or 3 million. I don't know. One of them. It sounds like a lot to me. But she has followers on X and on Instagram in those numbers, whatever it may be. And she's really built a brand for herself. But how much of that brand is her being on WWE, being seen, It was very popular for, she's gotten a lot of TikToks and YouTube shorts and, Cody won, and she's like shaking and having a really good time and everything. But the thing is, they replaced her with Lillian Garcia, and Lillian looks great still. She has a set of pipes on her, and she's classic old time wrestling. And if Samantha Irvin had to go and do whatever she's going to do, they backed it up with they went for a Hall of Famer, a Hall of Famer that, it's just a ring announcer, seriously. But I think Lillian Garcia is, classic. Oh, Lord Gonzo. I hope Yankees are cooked. I fear Garrett Cole, and maybe that's it. But they announced that Jack Flaherty is a Southern California native, Dodger fan from back in the day. He's going to start game 1. Oh yeah. I wonder if Yule's beard growth is due to his superstition of not shaving. Yeah, that's basically it. I guess I didn't finish that statement, but I figure you could figure it out. Yeah, I don't think I was going to get shut down for the Stooges. I just know I won't make any money off this video. I heard Marvel is launching their smaller trades, but it will cost $14.99 compared to DC's $9.99. Correct, because as I've always said, that between those two companies, and usually any company, when Marvel puts something out, it's usually $5 more. So if you're putting out a $25 trade, Marvel's putting out a $30 trade. Now I hate to say this because, I carry it in the store and people do buy it. The Mighty Thor that's coming out right now, which Al Ewing's writing, they collected the first 4 issues. Obviously, the first issue was double size, triple size, whatever it may have been. They charged $24.99 for a 4-issue book. Can you believe that? All the other ones have been the normal $17 or $19.99. But holy cow. I feel like they must have made a mistake on that one. But yeah, $5 more. That sounds about right for Marvel. But I think Marvel has greater, smaller, bite-sized stories than DC does. All of their stuff are 12-issue stories. 2 years worth of stories. They are doing Fantastic Four, some of the Hickman stuff, but again, those read like normal comic books in the beginning. Hickman hadn't established himself mainstream-wise to where he could just do anything he wants like he can now. And yeah. Okay, I should get through this, you guys. We're talking about Rocky IV now. Ivan Drago is a classic villain because Elithid Lore said Rocky IV has one of the best soundtracks in movie history. Paved the way for guys like Dimitri Bivol. I don't know who these. What? Holy cow! Who are all these people? Oh yeah. Okay, let's see here. Walk says I'm supposed to pick up some new ones from her. Yeah, we need it for the World Series, man. Lane says, so do you think I'm missing out skipping on the Absolute Universe? No, I don't. But there's going to be an Absolute Martian Manhunter. Seriously, we need that. Javier Rodriguez, yeah, is doing the artwork, so that's going to look really, really good. But Marvel's, well, okay, yeah, no, I don't think you are, especially if you don't care about DC. But you know how it is. Clean and Sober proves Keaton Batman, solid actor. All right, excellent. No, I know, I saw this. So speaking of ICP, I think it was Violent J did. I don't know if Shaggy 2 Dope did. Funny enough, Eminem was opening up for Obama in I think a Wisconsin thing today. Oh, no, Detroit. Duh. What would I say that? Michigan. And and I remember that like first album of his where he's doing that skit where ICP is, well, Yeah, Violent J is totally down, but he's also doesn't sound like he's really down with the two-party system anyway. Lastly, $24.99 for Immortal Thor. Good God, they must be banking on the series not lasting and trying to get some money fast. That was volume 1. The subsequent volumes have been cheaper. Immortal Thor. Oh, yeah, right. DC with their Halloween covers going on right now. Last month it was Mexican heritage or Hispanic heritage or something. No burrito wrappers in the wind this time. Lagunitas. All right. Let's talk about some comic books that came out last week that I think are pretty good. Oh, I need a banner for that. We just call this do I even have it? Oh yeah, there it is. Best of last week. Boom. And yeah, so coming up at number 5, no runner-ups. There's plenty of runner-ups, but we don't have time for that. Batman and Robin Year 1, number 1 by Mark Waid and Chris Samney. If you like the way this cover looks, then you're going to love the interiors. If you're a fan of Batman and Robin, you know what that means. When you have Batman and Robin, it's usually a little bit more carefree. Dick Grayson as Robin is jumping into action and being a little, he has the folly of youth on his side, and it's supposed to chill the Batman out just a little bit, make him a more lovable character. And who doesn't want that? All right. Coming up, wow, look at that. 2 DC comics, and one of them isn't a Batman comic book. This is, unfortunately, the weekly DC Action Comics, Superman Action Comics. But it's really good. Written by Mark Waid, so stop me if you've heard that. And art by Clayton Henry with a backup Supergirl story, which is pretty interesting also. I'm actually liking that one quite a bit too. Number 3, we see TMNT, Last Ronin 2, Re-Evolution. If they say Last Ronin 2, I don't even think they really needed to put the Re-Evolution bit in there because it's Last Ronin 2. There's no other Last Ronin 2. This is it. This one's been selling really well, and I can't get any number 1s. So if you don't have that already, next up, Batman Full Moon. 3 DC comics in the top 5. No Marvel yet. Could there be a Marvel comic book at number 1? Stay tuned. Batman Full Moon by Rodney Barnes writing. I think he's the guy that writes Philadelphia. And maybe along with Chris Samney, Bitter Root, but I could be wrong. Anyway, it's October and we need a horror comic book, and there's a few of them coming out right now, but this Batman Full Moon number 1 did really, really well. And I had to let everybody know that so many people picked it up and didn't even know what they were picking up at first, or they didn't even care. They just did. I don't know. You tell me. And it's a white cover on it, so you don't know that it's a Batman book unless you take a look at it. And I told almost everybody that had it in their pile when they came up to the register, and it's glow in the dark. Oh, I didn't even know. I wondered why this was a blank cover. I love customers. Number 1. That's right. It's Ultimate Spider-Man number 10 by Jonathan Hickman. The haters are wrong. How dare they say anything bad about this book? It's a great issue. It has a fill-in artist that we saw earlier, David Messina, I think his name is. And this issue is primarily about Jonah and Ben going through the chain to try and figure out who's behind this corporation that's being sold and bought and sold and bought and split and sold and bought. And they even have this one of those Charlie Day string thing going on where they're like plotting the whole thing out. And there wasn't much action, but it was gripping. I loved every bit of it. I thought this was excuse me, classic Jonathan Hickman stuff here, and I really, really enjoyed it. And looking at sales, I guess you do too. So, the best of last week was again Ultimate Spider-Man. Let me get a sip here. Let me put a new banner up. You guys know where my store is. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. Thumbs up the video. And take a look at us on Patreon if you want to give us some money for free. And maybe go to our Substack where we give you entertainment for free. Kind of like this show. Is it entertaining? Really? All right, let's talk about some of the stuff that happened. I'll keep this up for a little bit. The best of last week. It was announced at the convention that IDW was going to change their logo. So now look for this in your comic book shops when you're looking for fine IDW merchandise. For people that don't know what IDW produces, it's usually they are one of the preeminent IP companies. They used to try and do their own material, but eventually, it was, they had G.I. Joe, they had all the Hasbro stuff. They did Magic. Again, Hasbro. You have Hasbro and you have a lot. That's why the Robert Kirkman Transformers Energon universe was such a big deal. He didn't have to go and take strawberry shortcake along for the ride. He could leave My Little Pony behind, and that's what IDW does. But IDW also announced they're going to do IDW Dark. And what's Dark going to be? Well, Dark is going to be IPs of freaking horror things, Let me see. I had it up, but damn it. I guess I took it. Oh, no, here it is. So IDW actually had a couple of really good things that they did. But they're going to be doing a Smile comic, a Quiet Place comic, the Twilight Zone, Event Horizon, and Sleepy Hollow are some of the movies and TV shows being transformed into comics from IDW. You can get all this information at Newsarama, other places, Bleeding Cool, ICB2. But so that's what IDW is doing. I think the last thing we need is another horror or anything. I mean, they already do. Anyway, one of their great books that they did this year was the Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. Is that what it was called? Yeah. Which was like a serial killer, but it was all like, bunny rabbits and teddy bears and stuff like that. And we talked last week about Atlas Comics coming back. I think it's going to be exclusively at Walmart. So, you know, just today I saw that Heavy Metal's coming back, but it's going to start with a Kickstarter. And again, you know, follow me on X at Big Blue Yule, you know, the way I spell my name. And you can see all the stuff I think about these types of things. But yeah, I think jack off is the motion I get when I think about, yeah, you know, you're going to do a Kickstarter, you're Heavy Metal. Is Richard Corbin alive? Is Mobius alive? Is Drouillet going to do anything for you? Do you have like fantastic people, or is it just going to be Steve Orlando and James Tynion? More on him in a second. Marvel Comics, what did they do? Well, this is actually more recent. They announced the Rise of Emperor Doom is going to be a storyline that's going to be going on starting in February. Ryan North, who does, I find it to be an entertaining Fantastic Four, is going to be doing the writing, and he's going to have a really hot artist in RB Silva doing the art. Hopefully, I got the right name. More on Emperor Doom and our favorite webhead in just a second. And that's right. Steve McNiven and Charles Souffle are doing Daredevil, Cold Day in Hell. Yeah, when I found out about this, one of the things I said was, oh, great, a story I don't ever have to worry about caring about. Because it's an old man that isn't Daredevil anymore. But well, I guess he's going to be. Cool cover, though, and I do love Steve McNiven artwork. And Charles Soule usually writes a pretty darn good story, so I probably will check this out since I'm not a mainstream, all the time Daredevil reading guy. This is probably definitely something that I should check out, and I know all the Daredevil freaks will anyway. But Steve McNiven, come on, people. Ultimate Wolverine is going to be coming out. I think it's after this. Ultimate Universe. I think it's a one shot. This is the 1 year anniversary. It's going to be coming out in December. And by the looks of it, it's going to be all the villains that are shunted away from the normal universe right now. And then, yeah, we're going to get an Ultimate Wolverine. So, again, going back to the DC Absolute Universe, they're already announcing things like the Flash, which Jeff Lemire is going to be doing. They're talking about a new Green Lantern. They're talking about a Martian Manhunter. And I'm thinking about the sales of the regular Martian Manhunter miniseries, Green Lantern, you know, Superman at times, Batman at times, Wonder Woman all the time. You know, I have to think like, oh, now we're going to have the other versions of these characters. And geez, at least Marvel seems to be taking their time doing these. It was Spider-Man, then it was Spider-Man and Black Panther, and then it was Spider-Man and Black Panther and X-Men. And then a little time went by, and then Ultimates came out, and that's all there's been. But DC is already announcing all this stuff, and it looks like it's coming out pretty soon. So if you get on board with the Absolute train, oh my goodness. At least Ultimate seems like it's, you know, slowing down a bit. Another Marvel news that I wanted to let everybody know about. Secret Lair announced that they were going to be dropping a Marvel set. And there's going to be a Black Panther one. So what's Secret Lair? You got to sign up for this and find out about when the date is that you have to log in, and then an hour later you can bid on this garbage, right? It's always a Monday. And you can get regular edition cards or you can get foil cards. But you might not get them because a lot of people are going to try and get that stuff. And you can buy only a maximum of 5. And these things are like $39.99 and $69.99 or something like that. But look at what you're getting. If you get the Wolverine set, these are all the really cool cards you're going to be getting. Look at that. We got some Weapon X down in the bottom right. And for you Laura Kinney fans, there you go. So you got a Rite of Passage. What a great name for a card. I love it. I can't wait to play Marvel the Gathering at my comic book store. We're not going to have tournaments. We're just going to have fun. And, you know, I'm going to get so many of these. I just want to have fun. You know, it'll be like that other thing that we do at the comic store. And then you go home. Maybe we'll trade. Wouldn't that be awesome? Because, like, none of us really are going to care about, like, the money aspect of these things, other than, you know, the initial cost. It's all going to be available to us. But it's going to be a fun little Marvel the Gathering community. And I'm already getting people excited about this stuff. So think about it. Maybe, just maybe, sign up for Secret Lair so that you can get the announcement and you can go and bid on some of these cards. So we can see your decked out card, your deck before, you know, even we get the cards in. What's this one? Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. This, J. Michael Straczynski is going to do 6 one-shots featuring the strangest Marvel pairings ever. Why, if you thought Nick Fury and Fin Fang Foom weren't a great team, I believe you're going to be right. Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus, what? First they switch bodies and now they're fighting with each other? Oh my goodness. Or fighting alongside each other. And then you're going to have artists like Herman Peralta and Phil Noto and Bernard Chang. I like Bernard Chang. Captain America and who? Volstagg? What? What? Yeah, I guess Marvel is sniffing farts. They had to do something to keep Straczynski around because they also announced, not at the conventions necessarily, but last week, that Captain America is ending soon. I had a customer who's like, I'm going to cancel Captain America. And I'm all right, that's fine. Just to let you know, there's only like about 3 more issues left. And he's like, all right, let's do it. Maybe you can pull this one out. He's not going to pull it. All right, now we're going to talk about DC. DC. Boy, oh boy, DC. Well, let's go to the good stuff right off the bat. Jim Lee was announced a week ago. So this is like best of 2 weeks ago that he was going to be doing a Batman run on the regular series. We now know it's going to be like 158. And I love that because when him and Jeff Loeb did Batman before, it was on, holy cow, what number was that? I think it was like 203, maybe? I can't remember. Doesn't really matter. Let's not get hung up about that. And they did Hush. And Hush was a, wow, what a hit. It was a hit. And oh, look at, so I worked at Comic Relief, and this was in 2000s. And DC was doing some really great stuff. But when they got, you know, they had already had the Wildstorm stuff. You know, they already had Alan Moore having to work at DC again, contractually. And all of that stuff was great. But when Jim Lee did Batman Hush, oh, did that sell? I mean, he went over and then did Superman, and this was like back-to-back years, right? And that Superman sold. Unfortunately, that Superman exists. Not very good. But Jim Lee, Jeff Loeb's Hush, pretty good. And a lot of people love it. And I sold it like crazy over the course of my comic book career. Coming in, I think it just did, and we sold out. But, or no, it has yet to. They're doing the DC compact version of that. So that's a thing. Absolute Batman had a New York alternate cover, and that was super hot. And people are hot for Absolute Batman. Felix Art said that all the pages of that sold out, and it made a fuck ton of money, you know. So absolute Batman's hot right now for sure. Peacemaker and Eagly. No, yeah, Peacemaker and Eagly is going to be a comic book. Oh, it's Peacemaker Presents Vigilante and Eagly. And the first part is going to be Peacemaker. It's all going to be the in between the first season and the second season of James Gunn's. Do you say Gunn's? Gunn's Peacemaker series, which was on HBO Max, and a lot of people loved it. I saw 3 episodes, thought it was great. So this should be really funny. It's got 2 creative teams working on it, and yeah, there you go. What else? Number 3. Okay. DC is going to do a Justice League versus Kong versus Godzilla Part 2 Re-Evolution. I just came up with that. And all right, that's cool. All right. You know, keep those people that have that other interest and keep them coming in. You're going to have people coming in for Jim Lee. I didn't know they're doing something with Godzilla King Kong. That's pretty fun. I kind of want to see that. Also the Hush. That's the thing about the Jim Lee. They're doing Hush Volume 2 in this Batman story. And I'm a little disappointed because like they didn't really need to go and revisit that one. And even if they use some of the characters that have been created since then, it's never going to be better than that Paul Dini, Dustin Nguyen stuff that they did in Detective. So why bother? Next up, this is the big one. DC Vertigo coming back. Ooh. Well, maybe not. DC moved their offices from the East Coast to the West Coast. And ever since then, they've been doing all sorts of things that have been weird. They shed Dan Didio, who was like one of the presidents of the company. Marco Cicchetto, who was one of the art director of the company. DC's comics usually look quite good. Even if it's a style that I don't like, it's good for that style. But even still, there's a thing about it. And Jeff Johns, we saw his last comic in that Justice Society, which took forever to come out. So he's persona non grata over there now. So he was one of the 3 presidents or whatever their titles were. And I left Jim Lee. And they started hiring people from outside the company to shake things up. And one of the things they did was they got rid of DC Vertigo. And the thing about DC Vertigo was it was kind of like a place where people could be really super creative within the DC, company, and maybe even or often have some sort of ownership of these characters. Neil Gaiman has a lot of say-so in his Sandman series that get made. And even when it's the comic book, they say it's Neil Gaiman's Sandman universe, that type of stuff. So they got rid of DC Vertigo, which was their line that they gave ownership to characters. And then they created Black Label so that it could be, the edgy stories. But none of those edgy stories were anything other than, more often than not, a Batman story. Show his penis in the first issue. They wanted something edgy. They got a penis and they didn't want it, so he covered it up, but it was still there. And so the Bat-Dong, who doesn't love talking about that? It's almost like so they immediately censored that one. It's never going to be back in print again or anything like that, even with full censorship. So it got neutered right from the very, very freaking beginning. So they got rid of the thing that was popular, and people were like, God, man, this was the thing that I loved when I wanted to read comic books. I was talking last week with Joe, when you want to hang out with the ladies, but still be able to have a comic every now and then, you want something that's not embarrassing, like a goddamn wrestling angle. You know what I mean? You don't understand. These tights are very important that this character wears. And you don't want that around. You want to score, right? So you drink a beer and you read Sandman. Yeah, Vertigo. Awesome. Look at Grant Morrison writing this weird ass shit, saying things. Peter Milligan. I love Shade the Changing Man. Some of my favorite stuff. And, you know, if they wanted something, the thing is like that got popular right after the Piranha Press bit happened. So Piranha Press led into Vertigo, and then they really hit a home run. And the thing is like Vertigo wasn't necessarily Vertigo at first. The Sandman books, the Swamp Thing books, the Animal Man books. When Grant Morrison wrote Animal Man, none of them were Vertigo books, but they do this. So those books morphed into the Vertigo line. Like finally, we know what these books are. Hellblazer's now a Vertigo book. Sandman's now a Vertigo book. You know, these type of things. When we want to do books that are horror or just offbeat or just something that, you know, has some nudity in it, it's a Vertigo book, right? Even DC Comics, even earlier than that, were trying to do. DC Comics aren't just for kids, you know? So they neutered themselves when they did this Black Label. They got rid of Vertigo. I mean, they were already doing it anyway. And Vertigo had changed over the years, but they had two really, really good runs. So when you say, wow, Vertigo's coming back, it's like, oh, I can't wait. I've got nostalgia for that. And when I have nostalgia for something from the past, I don't necessarily think of James Tynion. His Nice House by the Sea is going to have reprint editions. They're going to be no longer Black Label editions, but now the brand new DC Vertigo. And there were special copies of this at the New York Comic Con. Lucky you, lucky you. I bet that's going to be up for money soon. Maybe if it's slabbed at a high enough rate. So I don't know. I all this time we've been hearing things about old people getting out of comic books. You know, we have to make way for the new regime. I bet that the old people, if they were still going to stick around, would be around before paper was never used again. Because I don't think it's going to be that long. You know what I mean? I just don't think it's just not something that seems like it needs to be done. You know, that's not good for me, but actually, you know, as far as the store, I mean, I feel like the last published books, magazines that's going to be out there will be comic books, right? You know, Lifetime, all that stuff, you know, it's going to be gone. The New Yorker magazine, just download it. Get your newspaper too while you're at it. Newspaper, please. I have a YouTuber that reads the news to me. Every morning for an hour and a half, I watch this person just read the newspaper to me. Why are you bringing Vertigo back? Why are you bringing Jim Lee back? Those people that were 10, 20 years ago, they shouldn't have been reading that Batman, but they're 30, okay? But the chances are it was 20 or 30-year-olds, and now you're trying to get the 50 and 60-year-old crowds back, you know? And it's like, even Oni is doing an EC imprint right now. Now, there might be a lot of people that don't know what that other stuff was, and they're just enjoying these books. But it's kind of like, heavy metal, you're really going to come back? Really? You're going to do that? Can't you do something new? Are you bringing Warren Ellis back? Because if I don't see British people that I want to read writing Vertigo books, what do I care? You know what I mean? Even Andy Diggle's still a Brit. You know, Jock is a Brit. You know, get these guys over here. Where's Garth Ennis? Is Garth Ennis going to be doing something for you? Because these are the people that made your company. Where's Grant Morrison? Is Grant Morrison going to be doing something for you? And who is Peter Milligan? Is Peter Milligan? I mean, can you pry him away from AWA? Can you? That's a joke. Let me go to comments really quick. Yeah, see, I saw that. Really? I thought that Jackoff gesture was just you rolling the dice, symbolizing that Kickstarter is always a gamble. LOL. A little bit of that too. Yeah, David Nakayama. My goodness. As long as Jeff Lemire isn't drawing it, I might give it a shot. Understood. Well, you should give it a shot. I mean, Jeff Lemire usually writes a really good book. I love how Marvel just had to be unique and call it year one. 1 year in. LOL. Wait. Well, it's just, Vertigo yawn of DC edition. RIP. Yeah, seriously. Jeff Loeb, IRLYT. Earlyite. Early. Jeff Loeb, Jim Lee, and Batman we've seen before. I wish it was a different writer and character. Yeah, I agree. Well, it could be the same writer, just a different character. Maybe a different product altogether, like a series of Treasury editions or something. Oh, that'd be interesting. I like that. Sean, hopefully DC keeps its hands out of Vertigo and stays true to their mission statement. Black Label can be their Max Knights initiative for DC characters. Keep Vertigo unique. I totally agree. DC has to help justify Jim Lee's salary. Well, this will do it. This should do it. I hope that people will be coming in for that book. I think it will look great, and it should be a really fun story. Jeff Loeb knows how to tell good comic book stories. Not my favorite. Not always, like, even the things that people gush about, I'm not really that big a fan of his. But there have been some other things that I do love, and his Men of Action, when he worked on Superman with the other Men of Action, so good. I liked it. He had Ed McGuinness on art. Speaking of Ed McGuinness, there was one more thing, and we're going to do some clips. This first one is a little bit of writing on the screen and a little bit of music, and it's all about a brand new Spider-Man storyline. Check this one out. What? Spider-Man's gonna die? No. Spider-Man's not gonna die. He's not gonna just die. Oh shit, man, I remember that guy. Where did I see him? Was it in Blood Hunt? So this whole thing is stemming from the Blood Hunt thing, I guess, where Dr. Doom is now Sorcerer Supreme. And he's going to have his own series called Strange University. Is that what it is? Doom University? Something like that. Anyway, who are the people working on this? Well, you obviously know who the artist is. So who's the writer? Someone I'm really big on. And somebody also we just talked about. All right, excellent. I guess I could have all just put this all together since I was big Joe Kelly fan, Men of Action. He and Ed McGuinness did all the Deadpool that everybody knows Deadpool for, maybe minus the blood stuff. And here's the end part of that video. What? Did you see Black Cat kissing Peter, Spider-Man? Holy cow. Lane, I hope you're paying attention to that. And yeah, I'm like I said, I've been really enjoying the Spider-Man stuff for the most part, minus the rec rap. The rec rap sucked. Let's be real about it. I mean, there's some fun rec rap ideas I have with that character that I would want to do if I was running things at Marvel, but I'm not. And I'm not giving that away for free anymore. But I would actually, if I could get it this way. Exactly like this. But Joe Kelly coming on, doing Spider-Man, and he's using Black Cat because, him and Black Cat have totally hung out before. And some of my favorite, most exciting stories between those two characters were Joe Kelly written stories. So yeah, should check them out. And yeah, so that's some of the stuff that happened last week, some of the stuff that you should be paying attention to going forward. And I'm sure we're going to talk about more of it going, in the weeks to come. Now is a good wait, do I have it? Oh yeah, I do. All right, now we should talk about some comic books coming out next week.
Why, we sell a dozen a day in this price range.
Who buys them? Tax collectors?
Even if I had to pay, it would be worth it. Just for the occasion.
What, is something big going on somewhere?
It's going on right here. It's a big night.
Well, it's just an old run-of-the-mill Wednesday. Well, the calendar's full of them.
That's right. The calendar's full of them, everybody. Let's get some of these up. Well, I do have them up. I gotta get rid of some of these other pictures that I have right here. Let's put the first one up. Unfortunately, we're going to have to do the drawing or the wheel spin for the Transformers next week because I didn't have all the information I needed. All right, first up, we're going to start with some DC comic books because, we're talking about DC comic books. And this is the All-In Initiative, which also coincides with the Absolute Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman books that are going to be coming out in the weeks and months ahead of now. But first, on the other side of the DC universe, we have Superman and Superwoman. What? Welcome Dan Mora to the title. So this is going to look better than ever. And it's looked really good in the first 18 issues. And Joshua Williamson, who's been writing a really darn good Superman, what's going on with there being a Superwoman? Like what we need another super family character? Really? Seriously? But like I said, I do like Joshua Williamson, and Dan Moore is a really darn good artist. And at least this is a Superman book that's not coming out weekly. So there's that for you. Let me just do this one also. All right. Next up, we've got Nightwing number 119. I already had one cancellation from the person that was reading it before this issue. Or, so all the Tom Taylor stuff and everything beforehand. And now when Dexter Soy comes on art and Dan Waters, fresh off G.I. Joe's Destro miniseries over on the Energon side of things of Image, he drops it. I'm like, Nightwing's going to finally rule again. I can't wait. At least I hope. Haven't read it yet, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. At least for an issue. Detective Comics gets a new writer, and it's Tom Taylor. Oh, well, revolving doors and all that. 1090 is the issue number. And I do like Tom Taylor from time to time, from Tom to Tom, but not all the time. Nonetheless, I should probably give this detective at least one chance. Action Comics number 1072, but I like to call it part 3 of the weekly series. So this is in the Phantom Zone. We have Superman at the end of last issue, and again, it comes out weekly, so you better get caught up, because this is going to be a spoiler. Mon-El shows up, and there's been a lot of teasing going on about the Legion of Superheroes lately. It was in the end of the Justice Society with Jeff Johns. All right, we can not worry about that one. There's a new Legion that's formed in the All-In one-shot. If you haven't read that yet, come on in my store and get it. And now we have Mon-El in Action Comics. And he's like leading the Phantom Zone. Like he has this land under control. What's going on in the Phantom Zone? Written by Mark Waid and art by Clayton Henry. All right. Next up, we have Green Arrow number 17, or its legacy numbering is 350. My goodness. I have to assume that most of those numbers come from the Mike Grell started series. And maybe they're even counting the Longbow Hunters. Maybe they're even counting those Green Lanterns that had Green Arrow in them, you know? Anyhow, this is issue 17. Joshua Williamson's still on the book, but not for long. Chris Condon's going to be writing this series going forward, I do believe. And yeah, we have that guy who has my name and his last name. Amonse? Is that how you say his name? Amonse? The last all-in book that comes out this week is Simon Spurrier written Flash number 14. I don't even know what's going on. And if Barry Allen lost his powers lately, what's going on? So you tell me. And I was totally mistaken. I thought that Superman was going to be the next issue with the way people were talking about it, but I was wrong. Absolute Wonder Woman is the first or the next Absolute book that's coming out this week. And it's written by Kelly Thompson. Fans out there, I know you're there. I've got a lot of them in the store. You're going to want to get this book. And you're probably going to want to get it if you're a Wonder Woman fan anyway, because it's going to be a little bit different. And I hear it's pretty good already. And you should check it out. Ah, finally, Marvel. Marvel taking a back seat. Nick Klein's drawing this book, so all of you guys should probably pick it up. And Philip Kennedy Johnson's writing a really good Hulk story, and I even like the ones with the backup artist. Fun stuff, and it really reminds me of Hulk that I grew up reading. He's not dumb Hulk, but he has somebody that he's hanging around with, a human person, somebody that has, you know, something that grounds the Hulk. And this character is pretty cool for that. And you know, like Rick Jones and some of the other characters I can't think of, with Jim Wilson, right? Avengers number 19, Jed MacKay. He writes X-Men, and well, he did Doctor Strange, and he did Blood Hunt, and it looks like he's getting less and less a little bit less titles now that he's working on some of these bigger books. Doctor Doom on the cover, gotta like that. And I've been enjoying this, especially now that Storm's on the team. My goodness, that last issue with Hyperion, really liked it. And although I heard someone kind of say that Captain Marvel might not have been so bloodthirsty like she was at least written like, you know, she was a military person and there need to be losses. If there's going to be losses, you take the best outcome you can possibly hope for. And she had the contingency ready to go, and it was deadly, and it didn't need to happen. I like the way they solved the situation, and in typical Jed MacKay fashion, it was really just a one-issue story. It was 2 issues, but you know, the threat started at the very end of the last issue, and then it was finished on this one. Well, not this one, 18, I mean. So yeah, pick this one up. New story. X-Men number 6. Stop me if you've heard this one, but Jed MacKay is the writer of this X-Men series. And for anybody that was worried that he was going to be handling so many characters recently, he's actually in all the issues, he's just been focusing on a few at a time. So Ilyana goes out and she has Temper with her. Is that her name, Temper? Something like that. And they're going and they're collecting mutants, and they got this little storyline going on. And Juggernaut had his thing going on with Quentin Quire in an issue, and Cyclops has been like kind of doing the we'll call it glad handing, even though he's kind of threatening everybody. And you know, Hank McCoy doing his thing. So pretty fun stuff. Rook Exodus number 6, probably the most favorite Ghost Machine comic book that is in, as far as the people that buy it in the store is concerned. It sells out more often than the other books, and I put my numbers up, so you know, it's doing really well. Jason Fabok is an excellent illustrator, right in the Ivan Reis, Jim Lee vein. And Jeff Johns, DC's loss is Image's gain, and he's doing a bunch of Ghost Machine books right now with more to come. Void Rivals number 13. Oh my goodness, I have to get more things up. Let me just do this really quick. All right. Void Rivals number 13 is part of the Energon universe. This is Robert Kirkman's super smart book that ties them in with Hasbro products forever. I mean, at least as long as they want to like keep this thing going. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 3. IDW puts this one out. Jason Aaron writes it, and right now, Cliff Chang is the artist for this issue. The first 4 issues are going to be about different turtle characters, and each issue has a different illustrator. But they did announce who the regular artist was going to be, but I can't remember who it is, so we'll talk about that later. DC is doing Elseworlds books also right now, and Green Lantern Dark is coming out. I don't know what to say. I don't really know much about Tate Bromble or the artist, but you know, I'm sure it's going to look good and probably be fun. I think it's 7 issues also, which is kind of weird. Iron Man number 1, Spencer Ackerman. Some people think he hasn't written comics before, but he has. Just kind of like one-shots and funny issues. He's a Hollywood type writer, if I'm not mistaken. And he's going to have a take on Iron Man that not everybody's going to be enjoying, but, you know, should definitely check it out, especially if you're an Iron Man fan, I would assume. Bunch of different covers, let me tell you. A lot of covers. X Factor number 3. Wow, it looks like Lorna Dane is maybe an unwitting enemy of X Factor now. And pretty fun stuff. I like Mark Russell as a writer, and the art's fine. Marcus Toe's the artist. He does a good job. And it's just a different X book. Alex Summers is always one of those characters that seems like he's trying to. It's like he's atoning or something. Like he's sorry. He's kind of he's a self-loather for sure. he's a self-loathing mutant. And he's always trying to make nice with the humans and the flat scans, if you will. And yeah, it's a fun book. I like it. Good stuff. The Moon is Following Us, number 2, by Daniel Warren Johnson and Riley Rossmo. Daniel Warren Johnson does some of the art, but most of it's by Riley Rossmo when it's in this like fantasy land. And as you can see, there's this fantasy land and then there's the real world. And already after the first issue, wow, what powerful, interesting stuff that's going on. I think I'm going to have to talk about it a little bit more in depth later. So let me read this issue and then maybe we'll have a conversation about it. DC Horror presents. Yeah, there you go. It presents. There's 4 issues coming out. And wow, look at that Superman. Pretty crazy. I think it's going to be an anthology, but I could be wrong. You were going to get it because you like horror stuff and DC characters, right? Conan the Barbarian. For anybody that comes in real early in the store, I might not have my order yet because UPS has a new driver since my driver's been on break. Shamshar, come back, please. And yeah, this will be a diamond shipment, and I'll have it soon. Great stuff. And Dougie Braithwaite does the art. Jim Zub on writing. I think Robert De La Torre will not be on this book much longer, so you're going to have to be a real Conan fan, but usually the people that they have working on the book other than De La Torre have been really, really solid also. I mean, when you put Doug Braithwaite on a book, you know it's going to look great. Spirits of Vengeance, number 2. I put this under S, and almost nobody bought this. I wonder if I put it under G for Ghostwriter, someone might have looked at it. It might be under G tomorrow, so stay tuned. Werewolf by Night. I think this is the 3rd issue. This is bagged. It's a red band. It's got explicit stuff going on in it. Oh my goodness, it's explicit, everybody. Yeah. And look, it's got Moon Knight. Who doesn't love that? Moon Knight and Werewolf by Night. That's a match made in heaven, or at least Marvel heaven, maybe, I guess. Yeah. All right. One of my favorite books that's coming out, and it's almost over. 5 of 7 Grommets by Rick Remender, Brian Posehn, and Brett Parson. Who cares about the colorist? Actually, the colorist does a really good job capturing the feel of what it's like being in California in the 80s, the mid 80s. And there was this one scene at a Taco Bell, and it was like old school Taco Bell. And it's like, oh my God, I just remember that. It was bringing back all the fond memories of living a life that you probably aren't going to remember most of the time spent doing it. And Grommets is kind of like that. Rick Remender is doing a really good job. Brian Posehn, works with him. Yeah, there you go. Good stuff. Paranoid Gardens, number 4 by Gerard Way, Sean Simon, and Chris Weston. Dave Stewart on coloring. And I won't even make the Eurythmics joke today. This is probably my favorite series of the year. Favorite, hands down, favorite book of the year. Funny, one of my favorite books of last year was a Dark Horse book. It was Hunger and the Dusk. Is that what it is? Hunger and Dusk by G. Willow Wilson. And I hope that's not an IDW one. I think it might be an IDW one, actually. Never mind. Sacred Dam. The Sacred Dam. This is a I can't Matt. What's his freaking name? It's not Matt Walsh, is it? Something like that. Matt Walsh. He's the artist. He does stuff like horror type books. And I think there's a gimmick with this in other books that are coming out through Image, but I can't quite recall what they are. So I'm just letting you know this is coming out. Kieran Gillen's Power Fantasy has been selling out, and they wanted to make sure that I had enough number 3s to meet the demand that my store obviously has had for these. So I've had to redo the reorders for 1s and 2s, get the second prints or third prints of 1s and 2s. And now I have number 3 in, and I should have enough for everybody. But if you're interested in checking something out that's different, Image is putting out a pretty fun little book here. And lastly, the book I'm really looking forward to. This is the number 1 book, everybody. This is the book you have to get. Now, I don't get a lot of Godzilla books, okay? But this one, I ordered a bunch of. Now, a bunch for me is a lot more than, it's more than a handful. It's not X-Men numbers. I'm not doing something like buying Spider-Man books here. I'm not doing Absolute Batman. But I really, really respect this writer, this artist. And even if it's Godzilla, I recommend you check this one out. Make me reorder this because this is going to be good. Tom Scioli, Godzilla's Monsterpiece Theater, featuring The Time Machinist and The Great Gatsby and Sherlock Holmes. Oh my goodness. Each issue is going to be wonderful. This guy's a really great creator. Along with Joe Casey, he did one of my favorite superhero stories ever. Definitely one of my favorite superhero stories that's not Marvel or DC, and it's called Godland. Always a money back guarantee. Well, we'll call it credit back guarantee. I hate having to put money back. It's just a pain. But if you get Godland number 1, the trade, I will. It's always the money back. But yeah, Tom Scioli's doing this one, and I think it's going to be really fun. I think you should all check this one out, and definitely go to your comic store and pick this one up. And that, along with a bunch of other comics that are coming out tomorrow. I mean, if you do the Venom War at all, there's 2 of those books. I think Lethal Weapons or whatever it's called. There's a Carnage one, or maybe it's the Daredevil one, or whatever. It doesn't matter. There's another one coming out. There's just so many comic books and trades. Last week I got the X-Men Omnibus Volume 2. It's the death of, or the Dark Phoenix saga. It's only the last 6 issues, so you need to get the first one. Or you can just get the Marvel Epic X-Men Volume 1, and you can match it up with the Omnibus. But anyway, all the John Byrne, all the great Dave Cockrum that follows, all the great Chris Claremont, all in that graphic novel Omnibus edition. I got that one in. There's just so many things that are out. And of course, you know, I have that Charles Burns book that I was supposed to talk with Joe Corallo about, called Final Cut. And I think I still have a copy left of that. So I have to get more of that too. But yeah, really, really good book. In a totally different way. It puts me in a same but different frame of mind like Grommets. Whereas Grommets makes me remember. So there's the living of life, right? There's the living of life. And everything's so very important when it's happening. But as time goes on, it really wasn't that big a deal. Or maybe you even forgot it altogether. And Grommets is kind of a little bit like that. So there's a lot of like nuances that's just kind of fun. And, you know, I remember that, but it didn't really happen to me. But, you know, that was a thing that existed. And, oh, I remember when people talked like that, you know, and things like that. But it's not like I'm talking like that anymore. So Final Cut, though, brings me back into those moments where I couldn't escape the idea that this wasn't going to be important later. And it's very suffocating and a tough book to read, but it's also really great. So I highly recommend that one also. Probably like graphic novel of the year. For me, I don't really like Monica that much. All right, let's go. Let's see here. Oh, wait. Before we go to your comments, let me do this. It is almost the end of the show, but I want to let you all know about my patrons, people that give me money that I use for the store. Taxes are coming up. I know taxes already happened, but we were able to delay it, get our shit together. It's going to be quite the Band-Aid I'm going to have to rip off, because funny enough, every month I have to pay taxes, and that's in 2 days also. And then I'm going to have to pay the accountant. So thank you. Thank you very much. And if you want to be seen, you don't want to be like this guy.
You know, my last name is Costanza. That's Italian. So you and I are kind of like countrymen. Huh? Paisanos.
650 you change.
Ah, yes. And I always take care of my paisanos. So here's a little something.
Antonio!
Si!
Vieni qua! Questa miserabile patrona!
That's right. You don't want to be like George. You want to know that I know that you've... Easiest way is to come in and buy something. Call me. Email. Email works. We're on X. Instagram's probably the best place to send a message, but I'll see it. And if you want to get a hold, we do shipping. And I do a really good job, I feel. I feel like I do a really good job. Anybody out there that's got anything that delivered by me, let us know in chat or in the comments afterwards. And yeah, hey, you don't have to give me 5 stars. It's a 10-star scale. That's why 10 stars is what you have to give me. But yeah, I feel like I do a really good job. I care about the condition of the books. And even though I don't put them always in bags and boards for people, there are bags and boards I can do also. Maybe I'll fudge the numbers just a little bit, but I try and keep the shipping down. It's cheaper than my comic shop, but I lose money on that. So order more. Or, you can just give free money to Patreon. Maybe I'll have something that only you can see. And yeah, I do that. So let's see. All right, let's see. Oh, all right, we'll start here. Given the mystic elements, if it has a Dicko vibe, I might check it out. What? The Spider-Man? Yeah, maybe. I'm finally going to do it, Sean says. I'm going to commit to buying Superman. Yes. I would. Pythona. All right. Jason Bush. Be hard-pressed to be the worst Iron Man run in recent memory. Yeah, probably. Man, I wonder, was it the Dan Slott one or was it the Hellcat one? I had people that actually liked the Hellcat one, but I sold less of it. And I don't know about the Dan Slott stuff. Moon is following us with such a snooze fest. One and done for me. Oh my gosh. I can't believe this. It's so good. Finally been waiting so long for Green Lantern Dark. Most interesting new Elseworld next to Smallwood's Batman Barbarian, which is still delayed indefinitely. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah. Spirits of Vengeance was god awful, written by the guy who wrote the comic with the sentient mosque. Oh no. Jason Bush loves grommets. All right, excellent. Those bagged red bands are a mistake. If they're bagged, that means I can't flip through the pages and can't get interested. Bad for compulsive purchases, for sure. Impulse, you mean? Yes, I saw that. And let's go Dodgers. Yeah. So Yule, did you read the new Iron Man #1? Lane says, no, I haven't yet, but I will. Although I have to read Mystique also. So I should put that in front of Iron Man. Plus, I want to make sure I read the action and make sure I'm caught up with that for at least a little while. Superman, because I'm interested in the Superwoman aspect. And I want to see if Detective and Green Arrow are anything I care about. So I probably won't read Detective. You know that. Damn. Thank you everybody for joining us. We got through another day. We're gonna get through another week. Can you believe that? And soon we're gonna have the most wild Tuesday we could possibly have. Can you imagine? We're gonna be celebrating a Dodger victory and other things that are blue, right? I'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Lucy and Ramona cruising through the jungles of L.A. Hoping to promote a dream somewhere along the way. They're rolling through the streets, looking for a disco, passing up the treats from a kid named Cisco, trying to make connections with their blemish food complexions, and just as fate would have it, ended up with Sunset Sam. Sam was selling watches from a suitcase on a TV tray. And Lucy and Ramona were trying to figure out if he was gay. The three of them were standing, staring at each other, when the light behind their eyes blew each other's cover. The ancient code was branded, and each of them was handed a ticket to their kingdom, 'cause they saw their brother Sunset Sam. Sunset Sam. Lucy was from Compton, and she met Ramona at the zoo. Ramona was from Brooklyn. She left when she was 22. Sam was a native of the Arizona desert, but he split when he was slated for some governmental make-work. Their differences subsided when the common bond was sighted. They were all from the same place that made the famous Sunset Sam.